Hiya. So it's me again, and today we are back with another episode of the Champion Legion progression. And from this point forward for the series, I want to give it my best shot to actually try to condense the videos as much as humanly possible, unless if there is something big that actually happens during the week. Now, for this week, it is going to be relatively long because there is some explaining that I have to do because two of my characters are liberating next week. But the reason why I want to make the videos as short as possible is because I actually want to show more gameplay and things that I've been testing out. And I also want to show or make my videos seem more human, if that makes sense. Me, just like everybody else, I tend to make mistakes, and when I'm attempting to do bosses at the min cut, there are a lot of times where I tend to fail as well. So I want to show things that I've been attempting or things that I've been grinding for. But yeah, besides that, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Also, remember to share this video to anybody who you think will actually benefit from this series in terms of progressing a lot of characters. But yeah, let's get on to the recaps, starting with the Cannoneer. The Master of Cannon Variety. We actually have made some changes on the Cannoneer. The first and the most important one being that we finally got our bullet to level 20. I made the jump. We got basically a free 3 FD from this. And I don't think I'm going to be touching the Cannoneer for a while. Maybe pop 1 or 2 more WAPs on this character to get 100 frags so that the moment M3 and M4 come out, I can unlock them. Okay, besides that, Sacred Force is up by 10 because I think our Cernium leveled up this week. And we are getting very close to an Arcus and an Odium level. So the Cannoneer is going to be very close to 350 for N-Kalos, or max N-Kalos damage. In terms of drops, this character didn't get anything besides a CFE, which is absolutely insane. I want to see the belt before I actually make the jump, and I would need both the belt and the earrings to go 22 before I actually do make the jump. But I am in a position where I actually can consider the jump to pitched because I'm at 5 set on this character. Now, realistically speaking, I feel like the belt is going to be the one big catalyst in terms of when I actually do make the switch. The most important thing is the belt going 22 so that I can get rid of the Gollux belt and then I actually have good options for earrings like Estella's for the earrings, and then for pendants I can run either a Daybreak or a Dominator, or if I get a source would be another catalyst for making the switch from Gollux to pitched. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for the Cannoneer. Alrighty, so here we are on the favorite. Now, the Khali is actually one of the characters that is going to liberate next week. As you can see, my V-Hilo mission is already clear, and I have a lot of traces of darkness, which is really funny. I'm basically right there. Once we get that, we're going to get our Genesis weapon, and we have a lot of materials actually prepared for this character's Genesis weapon. I've been saving the 300 flames from the Morningstar Feast, and we're actually starting to rack up a decent amount of victory badges. By next week, I should have 4,000, and I've actually saved half of the normal rainbow flames and all of the black flames. So I'll have all the headroom to buy as many flames that I need. Now, granted, it's only this character and the Marksman that I'm going to be flaming on. So hopefully upwards of 400 flames is going to be enough, but who knows? There's a very real chance that it actually won't be. But crossing our fingers, hopefully everything goes well. Other than that, haven't changed anything hexa-wise on this character. And we are really close to an Arcus level. Really close to an Arcus level and really close to a Shangri-La level. So the Khali is also starting to push past 300. Also, eventually when my Bowmaster and Adele hit 275, of course we're going to try pushing this character to 280, which means that it'll have a new symbol, so the Khali will have a lot of headroom sack-wise, so I'm not necessarily worried about sack on this character. And another thing that's really funny is that this character is almost done with Cernium, which is going to save a lot of time. Apparently I've been really consistent with Cernium. Hexa-wise, I have 320 fragments. I think the plan is going to be to wait for M3 and M4 to come out, unlock them, and throw the rest in Janus. I think is how I'm going to go about it. As much as I do want to just slap everything into Janus right now, I can only get it to level 6, so it's not really a huge improvement. And I think it's worth to throw the 100 frags here before I actually start actively working towards Janus 10. Now, Janus 10 will be something that I'm going to be working towards slowly. Whenever I have like extra time to just pop a WAP on this character, I will. And of course, all the frags will be going towards this. But yeah. On top of Sacred, 6th, and Liberation, this character got drops this week. It got another Arcane box, so we're back to 2 of everything in terms of spares, which is pretty decent. I think going forward, now that my Arcanes are 19, we're pretty much just gonna have to go for 22 or bust. Arcane spares are honestly so rare that I actually think it's smart to single out pieces, try to finish with them, and then move on to the next. But for right now, I'm gonna balance, and we're gonna see which one is gonna finish and which one doesn't. The ones that don't finish, obviously, we'll focus on them after the fact. And the ones that do finish, well, they're done. So, yeah. So, we're up in Arcane, and we're also up another wonderful chance at taking another step into the pitch set. One of the better items. And because this is the favorite, you guys know what's eventually going to happen to this ring. We're obviously going to wait for a good event before we actually go for it, but hopefully everything goes well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Khali. On to the Marksman. Man of Mark Variety. Man of Mark Variety is kind of in the same position as the Khali. We're getting very close to leveling up a lot of symbols. But the fact that this character is bricked very hard multiple events in a row kind of makes me okay with the fact that this character's 6th job is just not as good as my other characters. Now, granted, I do have enough for M3 and M4, which is nice, so when those come out, we'll have points in them immediately. But yeah, the Marksman, like I said a few weeks back when the Shining Star Force came around, the Marksman is going to be taking a backseat. I don't think I'm going to be actively farming on this character in a while. I think when I actually want to start pushing like Saren really hard, so like maybe not Saren, maybe I'm thinking like Kalos, like maybe when I want to start pushing N Kalos really hard, because hard Saren will come once I unlock M3, M4, and Lib. But yeah, definitely this character is kind of just going to be taking the back burner. Maybe if it gets more pitched, maybe if it gets like a lucky event. I kind of just want to see what happens to this character's equips before I continue actively working on this character. It is a little sad. I do have a crazy amount of spares still for items that aren't really high value. But eventually I will have to make a move on this character, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but when the time comes, we'll face it head first. But yeah, like realistically this week nothing has really changed on the Marksman. We're just looking for the Liberation. Because this character is also going to liberate next week, 763, so basically when I do half my bosses, this will be done. Now granted, my plan for Liberation, because this character is on the back seat, and the Khali's taking the front seat, I'm going to throw flames on this character first and try to just get something that is relatively usable. So we're going to look for a potential similar to this one, like a 13, 10, 30. We're going to go for a good mag soul, like if it's 7% boss, I'll probably keep. If it hits 3% attack first, then obviously we're happy. And of course, we're going to try to go for like a tier 6 plus flame, like we're going to try to get something on top of just tier 6 attack. So we're going to try to go for like a mediocre weapon on this character, and then we're going to go all out on the Khali. And hopefully we get the best results in both worlds, but you never know. Stay tuned for next week or something. Also, stay tuned for the recap on the DB. So, funnily enough, because I was actually farming on the Cannoneer, I haven't really had much time to farm on the dual blade as much as I do want to. But granted, we still have been throwing Angular Company on this character, so we've gotten a handful of levels on Azura's Anger and Phantom Blow, so this is now at 3 instead of 2, and this is now at 6 instead of 4, which is pretty nice. But now that the Cannoneer's Bullet Bill is at 20, we're going to be farming on the dual blade again. And we're going to actively try to make some improvements for the dual blade. In terms of drops, nothing really notable for the dual blade this week. I mean, realistically speaking, the only notable drops for the dual blade in general is pitched. We haven't seen Amitros yet. No ETs, no cool items to really see on this character. Now, one thing to note about the DB is definitely in a spot where if I get 4-set pitched, I will make the switch. With the belt, especially. And the reason why is because DB is one of those classes that doesn't really hugely benefit off of IED. So losing the 30 IED from sub Galax is not the end of the world. So if I manage to hit a Dreaming Belt, and if I manage to hit CFEs, then it's a lot of damage gained, even if it is losing the Galax set. Because of course we can also then equip the Daybreak instead of the Galax Pendant, which is also just damage on top of whatever else I'm gaining, because Galax base stats, except for the belt, are generally like really bad, because the flames are just not good at all. But yeah, that'll be it for the DB. On to the Bowmaster. So the Bowmaster, just like weeks prior, has been getting the daily frags, and we've been using those frags towards the Hexastat. And kind of the most unfortunate result for this Hexastat, it went instantly to 3 and then just completely bricked for the other 15 attempts afterwards. But I will say it is kind of nice because we do have a level 10, which means that we get a lot of friggin' attack. Because we just hit this over and over and over again. I'm hoping that it just continues going into substats because quite frankly, I don't even care about the main stat anymore. We are 1 level away from getting it finished, which means that it actually finishes today. Everything else is level 1 still. And I probably will leave it at level 1 because after this character's Hexastat is done, I'm gonna start putting a little bit of effort onto the Adele to get that character's Hexa unlocked, for the reason of I want that character's dailies to be easier as well. Having Janice and having all of the masteries and 5th job skills enhanced will definitely make life a lot easier for the Adele. In terms of anything else for the Bowmaster, Sacred hasn't really changed. We are coming close to a level though. It'll happen this week. In terms of gear, I don't think anything has changed. In comparison to last week, if anything has changed, it's probably the boots. I'm now 4 sets, so all we need is a cape. All we need is a cape, and this character is actually pretty damn strong. It says 32 mil, but my combat power goes to 38. With the cape, assuming I get a decent potential, and then finally get everything to 17, this character will be pushing past 40 mil for sure. Which is actually very, very solid. And this character's WSE on top of that is also very, very solid, so soon enough, maybe once I get a handful of 21s, we're gonna start doing C10E on the Bowmaster. Of course, I'd love to see a Con 3 or a Con 4 so that I also just don't have to do ring swapping, but I'm still doing the same thing that I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, where I'm only doing Sea Gloom and H Lucid, And the runs are actually getting not too bad. I pretty much got to H Lucid P3 in around 12 minutes. And I killed Sea Gloom in 15 minutes. So yeah, the Bowmaster is actually starting to do a lot of damage. And it's thanks to the 6 job and the fact that we are actually starting to acquire some arcanes, which is really nice. But that's pretty much gonna be it for the Bowmaster. On to the Adele. So the Adele is actually the big winner for this week, and for one reason and one reason alone. Because the Adele actually managed to get a black box when trading, and we hit a relatively solid Roar 3. Genuinely the second best ring that you could actually get on this class, I think. Only being beaten, of course, by Roar 4, so we're obviously very happy about that. In terms of arcane drops, we haven't really gotten anything, so we're still looking relatively unremarkable in terms of gear. Of course, we'd love to see the weapon. The weapon would be awesome, but no sign of that just yet. Now, on the other hand, the Adele is actually very, very close to maxing out Arcane Force, which means that going forward, I will be done with Arcane Force forever. I won't have to do any sort of arcane dailies. So as you can see, I'm at 93. With the daily, or with the dailies and the weeklies, I'll be at 140. I'll be at like 260. So 260 plus 93, I think actually gets me right there. No, I'll be 20 short. But I might just buy the symbols from here and just round off whatever's left so that I don't have to do any more dailies after today. And it's just Grandest dailies. In terms of Grandest dailies, we're actually up 20 Sacred from last week. We actually have been doing just the 500 on this character. Just the 500, of course, because the 3k doesn't really mean anything because I'm throwing it on the Bowmaster. But once again, Bowmaster is going to finish today, and we are going to work towards unlocking everything. Decree Plummet, Cleave, Dispatch, and Aether Arms, Soul Janus, and everything else, including Hexastat. So, yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's kind of going exactly as I planned, but in a weirder way, where my Adele and my Bowmaster are kind of going to end up in the same spot. Frankly, just because I need to wait for my liberations and I can't cube for drop gear. Funny thing is, in terms of cubing for drop gear, I think there's a DMT for accessories next month. So maybe I'll just use that as an opportunity to cube everything that I need to cube at once on both this character and the Bowmaster, so that in case if I need to save for any sort of Star Forcing events, or if there's anything that I need to desperately spend on or impulsively spend on in between, I can do that. But of course, if we can make the space to cube on this character and the Bowmaster at once on the DMT next month, that would be absolutely massive. But yeah, besides that, that's pretty much it for the Adele. And that's all 6. You guys know how this works. It is just it in general, so we are done for this week. Stay tuned for next week. Obviously, next week is going to be the big week where we dump all of our money once again. If you're curious as to how much money I have right now, I'm actually sitting at a cool 57 bill before anything that happens next week. I'm aiming for at least 80 bill by next week, where we spend roughly 20 on the Marksman and then roughly 60 on the Khali. Once again, I said that I'm planning to go much harder on the Khali than I am on the Marksman, and hopefully it all turns out well. So yeah, that'll be it. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than buying 200 packs of Black Cubes does. I'm going. Peace out, and much love.